Here's another late development, and this news keeps coming in as we're talking here.
Is the meme of the week. Moving on, we have the special topic for this episode. This episode has been a long time coming. This is 12 weeks. We have missed 1 week just due to how busy I was, but we've come a long way. Part of me did not believe we'd make it to 11. Heero for sure didn't believe we'd make it to episode 11. Enoch's hopped on somewhere in between episode 5 and 6. I think Javier joined towards the first few episodes. But it's been interesting. Since we started, we've grown our Discord group to about 20 plus members. We have our podcast, 11 episodes. This one being the 11th episode, 7 up right now, 8 going up tomorrow. Our YouTube channels are about to getting a couple new subscribers, people watching our videos. Same stuff you will find on the podcast, but with the visuals that you can see on here. The book club, we had started the book club, a great idea by Heero. And since then, I feel like we've been learning so much. We completed our first book about 2 weeks ago, which was the Calculated Risks book. Great primer into just basics of options trading as well as technical analysis. And this week we're starting the second book, which is How to Day Trade for a Living. So I feel like the book club is a segment that's going to be here for a good time. It might spin off into its own other thing, but it's been a great addition. Our social media has been gaining traction. Our Instagram finally hit 100 followers. So that's the first key big milestone. Next milestone will be 1,000. So starting from the end of this season to the next season is going to be roll to 1,000. So let's get that up there. We do have a Twitter, obviously not 100 followers, but eventually we'll get there. It will definitely get there. We now have still have the 2 courses. We have the Investor Starter Guide that I had done in March around the beginning of the COVID, and I just started an Intro to Options course that should be coming out on our pages as well for those that are interested specifically in options, just a beginner things you need to know before you jump into it. We also do have a Patreon. So as we're going on, we are going to be taking a hiatus for the episodes, but you can definitely support and tune into the recordings for our regular Sunday calls where we just talk about the weekend review and week ahead. So if you're interested in that, definitely support through Patreon. And our website is coming soon. I'm hoping that will be done before the second season. But it's just been so exciting, seeing how much progress we've made with the Trade Tribe and having people like you guys on the call, those people listening, other things like that. This has been a great experience. I feel like we're definitely closing out this season on a great note. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how much more we can go bigger or better in season 2. But yeah, it's been a great experience. How about you guys? You're on mute, Heero.
Yeah, like I told you when I first started, it's like I told you, all this trying to get 100 this, 100 that. Man, if you don't have 11 of something to give these people, how you gonna ask them for something? You have to be able to show through the label. I think one of the better call outs that I made while watching is because I really stick to dividends, and it takes a lot for me to muster up the strength to look into something. But when I called out that AMC, people really did. I was just like if you were on this show, you would have heard it a week ago, and then the week of it, you would have seen it again. So it's like there's your fruit of your labor. So I'm a big component of that. I'm a person who's been on the social media tip for 4 years now, and I'm just now hitting 1,000 goals. And I'm just now saying, okay, I'll do a sponsorship. But, I like to say fuck and shit like that. So I don't really stress myself to put up like that. But I was a big component of you first having value, then getting quantity.
Facts. I think you've brought up a great point where you have to have something to show people before you kind of try to convince them anything. I feel like once we started hit 5 episodes, people were like, oh, this is a real thing. This is something that I can look forward to every week. And it's crazy to see my friends say, oh yeah, I saw the episode. One of my friends would text me, oh yeah, I'm listening to the podcast right now as you're texting me. I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. So having that content out there that people can really see, okay, this is serious. This is something that people are behind and is being put out there is powerful. And the second thing you said about really doing your not really due diligence, but like looking into something and seeing that it actually works after you put the energy and time into it, especially with the AMC call, which is one of the best calls I've heard of in the group chat since we started it. I still believe you have an inside man and you just refuse to tell us about it. But that's a really great point. I'm starting to see like when you spend time putting into these things, like you hear people say, "Oh yeah, make sure you're spending this amount of hours a week putting into like doing research or looking into it." And it's like it actually works. And this group that we have is evidence of that. Like when you put the time in every week, consistency was one of our pillars. You will see the results. And now as we're saying it right now, we are starting to see the results. So I definitely agree with what you said. Anything you want to add as well, Javier Enox?
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say, yeah, the trade tribe was a great idea. Like anybody could trade, but just putting that, like making a whole group for yourself, and like it's just awesome. The great initiative you did, and yeah, like people said, I try to share my story too, putting the podcast on there. I'm not sure how much people actually listen to it, but I mean, just seeing that's there to provide for people that usually don't hear, like people like that look like us actually like trading. It's usually like people on YouTube, like, oh, if you want to get rich fast, make this one trade a week. I know it's actually like it's more to it. It's like you have to learn how to do everything. And with the trade tribe, they show you that you can learn. And we're all in a group. Most of us, a lot of us are actually beginners. So it's a good thing that we're all starting up together. We're all helping each other. So yeah, the trade tribe is really a great initiative that you did.
That's facts. That's facts. People are not gonna pay attention. Like if you can post on your story, which I really appreciate you doing, but people gonna look at like, he don't know what he talk about until you become a millionaire. So at the point you're a millionaire, you're gonna be like, oh damn, why didn't you tell me? We have an episode every week. Y'all could have listened to. Y'all missed out. So as over time, you're gonna start seeing people convert. Like, oh, this is for real, and like, okay, let me hop in now.
That's that bullshit I be telling people. Like I remember when I played in the league. Like I can't. Everybody was like, "Damn, how'd you do it? How you?" Tawfiq was there 6 o'clock every morning when I waking up, leaving the house to go run and work out, and coming back at like 10, then go do it again at 4 p.m. Like no one was with us when we were shooting in the gym then, and nobody was in the. We see who was in the trade tribe right now when it was happening. Like
Right.
I long have stopped trying to prove I'm great to normal people.
Mm.
And that's something you have to be prepared to do as you get better in life. You have to, like, certain people are going to come up to you and ask you why, and you could sit there and explain to them, or you could just be like, you know what, you got it, you're absolutely right, you do you, boo. Like, and then when they come up and say how, then you can be like, oh, now you're ready to listen, let me show you.
And that's facts. It's really demotivating when people see you put in the work in, but don't believe you until they see the results. But then you look at, but for us, it's easy for us to be remotivated because we see our profits. It's like, okay, at the end of the week, I made this much. All right, I'm back in it for next week. So it's easy buying for me. So as they're not there shooting the gym with us, shit. Once we get drafted, following the same analogy, they're gonna be at the reception.
Yeah. Hey, drinks on me, baby.
Hey, you heard it first here. Heero is buying drinks for everyone in the trade tribe. So this is recorded, and we're gonna call back to this moment.
Come on down.
But yeah, it's definitely been a great experience, and I'm really excited. I'll probably do a special segment on this later this week just to close it out, providing a little bit of highlights from previous episodes and experiences in the group. If y'all have anyone y'all want to shout out, definitely let me know, and I'll make sure to include it for the next segment. But that pretty much covers the special topic for this episode. We made it to episode 11, and that is huge. And I'm just glad to see us reach 100 episodes in the future. Moving on, we have the book club segment. So last segment, as I said, we kind of closed out on the Calculated Risk book, which is a great read. And I'm probably going to go back and read that third chapter to learn more about the strategies and practice that. But this week, we're segueing into how to day trade for a living. This was definitely recommended by one of our Instagram followers on our page. And it was really great suggestion once I read the summary. So I was like, hey, this is a great topic that we can kind of talk about this week. And basically, it's just a book that kind of teaches people a little about beginner's guide to trading, specifically day trading. And it kind of gives you other main components or topics that will help you be a better day trader, such as risk management, different tools and scanners, trading psychology, things like that. But this week, I think most of us got up to chapter 3. I'll stop somewhere in the middle of chapter 3 just because of how busy I was with other stuff. But even just that, it was definitely great going over the basics again. For just as context, this book is really a short book. Is like about 92 pages, so it is an easy read for those people, and the author was very intentional about that. He said, hey, if you go into the trading, you probably don't care enough to read 100 pages of books. I'm just going to keep it up to a short book, 92 pages, give you all you need, and you just go from there, which is smart, and everything is really valid in what he said. That and in the first 3 chapters, you start to see that value just from reading it. The first chapter being a basic introduction, going over stuff like, hey, if you're coming into this, take it seriously. This is stuff you're going to need, like tools, community, things like that. The second chapter, he kind of distinguishes between day trading and swing trading. Talk about stuff like fundamental triggers and best time to trade during the day. And the third chapter, they talk about risk management, stuff like sizing your trade, using the 2% rule, entries, exits, and trading psychology. But I think it was a great chapter, and if anyone would like to talk about stuff that they read, now would be a great time. Javier?
Yeah, for sure. Just kind of reiterating what you're saying. The introduction is really talking about take it seriously. It's not a gamble when you do this. It's actually like educated thing. It's like riding a bike. Once you learn how to do it, it can't be taken away. This is really educational stuff. And another thing I was talking about was like we're all retail traders. So retail traders, like it's everyday people. We don't work at a firm. We don't work for anybody. And he asked, how can we trade against institutional traders, people that work at Goldman Sachs, people that work at JP Morgan Chase? And a main thing he pointed out was do guerrilla trading. So basically what that means is just jumping in the opportune moment. You don't have to trade every day like those big institutional traders, but just find the good moments when it's a good dip, when you see good news about a company, kind of the fundamentals. That's a good time to trade. And another thing he mentioned was when the sector is bad, don't trade in that sector if it's more likely going to keep on going down. Another thing he mentioned in risk management was the 2% rule. Never ever risk. I'm never ever make a trade more than 2% of your money, because that'll just be too much. And make sure your stop losses are at a good support level. And yeah, it's basically what I got out of it. So.
Do you kind of do the 2% rule as well, or is that something that you kind of learned from this book?
No, actually from that, like I've seen myself. He said that many traders make mistakes, like kind of they put their confidence ahead, like it's going down, but it's gonna come up eventually. And I made some of those mistakes. It went down, and I was watching it keep on going down. And by the time I knew it, I lost all my money. But just reading this and just being more like psychology, like just being more like aware of your money, like. Once you see it, like don't put your pride in front of everything basically. If you lose like a couple bucks, it's okay. Don't try to like make a home run every trade. If you have some profit, just keep that profit. It doesn't every trade, like I said, every trade doesn't have to be a home run. You could make a couple bucks, and those bucks will kind of like pile up a little bit, and your 2% can end up one day being like $1,000. So like just keep on working for your 2% to be really high basically.
Facts. I definitely agree with that. I feel like the first part you said with the treat like a business and distinguishing between retail traders and institutional traders was really a great point, because a lot of people don't know that this is really a kind of a game. It's a game, really. It's not something that is, and gambling is a game too, but with investing is a different type of game. As long as you're doing your due diligence and know what you're doing, it's a game that you can win. It's not set up for you to win, and that slowly changes, especially with investing becoming more democratized with different tools and things like that. But you're playing a game with other people in the world, and the goal is to take other people's money, take away their points or your capital in a sense. And like, although you're fighting for that, it's not hard. It can be easy to lose all that capital, but it's not hard to keep it as long as you're using the right mindset and right psychology. So I think that definitely is a great point. And for those that don't know, the difference between institutional traders and retail traders. Retail traders are individuals like myself that just opened up a brokerage account that's typically tied to our Social Security, and we just use that to invest money. Although it's obviously taxed at our regular income rates, we just use that to kind of grow our wealth. It could be from people just looking to become long-term investors, speculators, traders, things like that. But then you have the big dogs, people off Wall Street, people that have been doing this since the stock market ever existed, since in the early 1900s. And basically, these are those Charles Schwab's, the big banks that you can think about. And they're the ones that have to have money moving around. So they are always trading. They typically use a lot of high frequency trading and algorithms for their trading. But the downside to them, as they said in the book, is that they have to always trade. They're the ones that make the market. So if they're not trading, the market just falls apart. So they're obviously at a loss because they have to trade to keep money moving around. And for us, we can benefit off that. We can stop trading whenever we want, but we can eat off those crumbs. I think in the previous episode, Heero had said that like his goal is to eat off the crumbs of these big people, and that was a great point because they leave them out there for you. It's up to you to go grab them.
Yeah. The crumbs of a billionaire could turn you into a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that is how I function in it. And you have to remember, like for every time you make 4% or even 1% profit on any trade, that's money you've stolen from
somebody else.
The people with the big brain algorithm. You mean to tell me in my basement in the middle of fuckwit nowhere, I was able to outclass Charles Schwab? That's how you have to take it. You have to be prideful. You have to trade with intent. I intend to be better than I was yesterday. And you have to take your L's and not just like say brush it off. You got to put some salt in that because what you've just done is fed the corporate machine. So you got to look at it like that. Like, how am I going to beat this system?
And that's a great point. That's
like your goal is to win. Yeah.
Keep going, sorry.
I said you're never gonna beat house money, like just like in Vegas. You're never gonna be able to beat out house money. Hell, after you win too much, they'll tell you, "Hey, you know what? Why don't you try another table?"
Right.
Yeah. So like, you don't go out here trying to beat it unless you just got it like that. But you should be hungry, and I think that's something we all can relate to.
Definitely. And with that, it's like they with these big institutions, it's a feat if they can just beat the S&P 500 that doesn't average 12% to 15% for over them. They're just trying to make 15% for the year. But when you're an individual trader, 15% a week is more feasible. You can do much better than them. There's people that are up double their accounts just in the first few months of this year. So the fact that they have hit triple digit returns versus that is just giving me a lot of confidence. And the fact that they call it out in this book just gives me a lot of confidence because you can be better than these people, the people that are using quants, algorithms, things like that. And you can just use your common sense and have better returns. Because for me, I look at percentages. I don't care about, I made $1,000 this week. If I made 20%, which is better than 10% of last week, that is huge to me. And that's just crazy because not only do you have to have confidence coming in, but the more time you spend in the markets, you build your confidence. Your value just goes up outside of your stock portfolio.
Yeah, another thing we said, you build confidence. He did recommend when you first start trading on like day trading, he said for like 3 months, like use paper trading under some platforms. So like you don't risk your real money and like because if you start off, you may make a really, really bad trade and that might discourage you like forever. So he just said like use like paper trade for about 3 months, have some supervision under you, and make sure you know what you're doing basically. So when those 3 months do end, you know what you're doing once you like start day trading and everything. So that's another thing he said to recommend.
Thanks, and that's a great point. For me, I hadn't even realized paper trading was a thing when I started trading. So for me, it was hard for me to take a step back to go into paper trading and then come back into the real world, real live trading. Have you had a chance to paper trade before, Javier?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't yet. No.
True. How about you, Enos? Have you?
On what platform have you used paper trading on?
I've used paper trading on each. Last week, I traded all my funds, Schwab's E-Trade, and then a 3-day period, I couldn't use any funds. So I actually use E-Trade, and I use it to do so I went long on AT&T. I sold put on AT&T. I also sold I also bought a put on AT&T. And I think I ended up making like $1,000 on the trade. That was paper trading, but it worked pretty well. Like for going over your strategies and applying your strategies.
Facts. And it's really great because it feels and looks just like a real life trading system. So whenever you're doing paper trading, it's affected by the same stocks that's actively moving in the real world. So you can see what it would have been like for you if you had just started. But for me, I actually do remember I had created a paper trading account on Webull. You can create one on any platform, really. I don't think Robinhood has one, but Thinkorswim, you can do paper trading. Just switch it to a paper trading the toggle. You can also go on Webull. They have a great paper trading platform, and there's a couple other ones that are probably better. But I had created one earlier this year around the COVID March timeline and completely forgot about it. I opened the account. And basically, it gives you $1 million paper money, fake money to trade with, and I put it into a couple long-term stocks. I think I bought into Apple, Tesla, Google, Illumina, Microsoft, Berkshire, Disney, and Uber. And so far, that account is up 61% since I created it. So that is dope. I've almost doubled my money, fake money, although and since then. So I definitely think paper trading is a great way to start. If I had started it, my returns in real life would probably be a lot better. But it's interesting that you can have access to something like that without risking anything at all. And that kind of goes into the third chapter, which is risk. And basically, one of the biggest things I've seen that people are afraid of getting is, oh, what if I lose my money? What if I lose all my capital and things like that? And yeah, that's a risk. That is a chance. That possibility is always going to be out there. I'm not going to lie to you. Going to tell you the truth straight up. That's always a possibility. It's always a possibility. But if you manage your risk, you don't got to worry about it. Like Javier said, one of the things in the book that they call that is that you should shoot to never lose more than 2% each day as you're day trading. The difference between day trading and swing trading is that when you're day trading, you're not looking to hold any stocks over this overnight. So your goal is to at least not lose more than 2% each day, so that the next day you can come back in and still have a good chance of making profit that will overtake that loss and give you in the green in the long run. And other ways you can do that was they mentioned about trading, sizing your trade. We say it on the podcast all the time. You shouldn't throw your whole account into something. You should kind of shoot to, okay, put about a certain percentage into each position, no matter how confident you are. Because if it goes bad, that's your whole account you're playing with. And it did touch on other stuff like entry, exit, and stop losses. I don't know if you guys had stuff you wanted to talk about regarding that.
Yeah, I'm like even from the time you did your lesson of the week on trailing stop losses, it's just such a fundamental key. It's nothing refresh. There's nothing more refreshing than having a 5% lead on your profits, setting a 30% trailing stop loss, and then just being able to sit back and once you get that trigger note that, oh, this stuff is falling below, just having the money already acquired to buy it right back, being 5 cents in the hole. It also takes the fear, because managing risk is a lot about giving away your control. There's something powerful about seeing the market, not looking at the market at 8 a.m. and then the next time you look at it as 9 a.m. A lot of people be like, what? But you don't look at it, no, because everyone's looking at it and everyone's reacting, and you're going to fall into that trap. If you've set your stop losses, that's part of managing risk. If you've read your research and you know your articles, that's part of risk management. Then you don't have to worry about trading day to day. The trade is already done day to day for you. A lot of people think risk management has to do with how you trade. It's really how you live as a trader.
Facts, and they did bring that up in the book where they were talking about like, hey, if you can manage your risk, you ain't gotta worry about it. Just shoot for a certain percentage you want to make every day. If you have an account over $25,000, you should shoot for $1,000 each day, somewhere around that level. If you have something less than that, shoot for maybe 500 a day, 100 a day, $20 a day. I think Heero, yours was $35 a week, which is even more very conservative in my opinion.
No, that's for like, and this is once again, and I come from a dividends background, so that's like when I first learned stock, I didn't learn how to trade options. I didn't learn how to trade swing trade. Someone told me, the first thing I ever heard when I got into options trading was someone told me, if you buy a stock, I'll pay you in 3 weeks for still having that stock. And that's literally all I did. I was like, okay, so all I got to do is find every stock that pays me and just hold on to those. And every 3 weeks, I was making $245 off of these stocks. And then something dawned on me. What if I could then also incorporate scalping? Because someone was like, oh yeah, if you have every day I watch a stock go up and down. And I was like, damn, every day this stock goes from $10 to $12, and I don't do nothing about that. So you can take risk management. Risk management is literally It comes in many forms, and it can be called conservative. But what risk management is actually absolutely supposed to do is keep your money.
Facts.
If you're interested in keeping your money, you have a lot of juju type things you do to keep your money. It sounds ridiculous. I think Luke's motto is 20 for 20. He's 20, no matter what happens. He doesn't care if Jeff Bezos went into one of his burning fucking factories and saved all 10 of his workers in there, brought them out, gave one of them chest compressions and then CPR and brought their ass to life. Fucking Amazon's going through the roof. After he gets to 20%, he's out. Luke is out.
Facts.
Oh, speaking of the devil, he's here. Look at him.
He heard you talk about his copyrighted rule, and he hopped in.
Yeah, he came here. The agent is here to claim his percentage. I'll send it in the mail.
Damn, I was listening, but I was having trouble logging in. But
no problem. We was wrapping up the book club of the week. The last point being what Javier had said at the beginning about the best time to trade, and basically, once you have that goal in mind, hey, I'm looking to make, say, $1,000 a day, $1,000 a week. The best time, and this is a great way to know whether you're doing well or not, is the longer you're spending in the day, looking at the markets, the more work you got to go do. Because if you're able to go in at the beginning of the day where most of the trading does, all the experts are making their money in the first 30 minutes to 1 hour, and hop out, be done for the day, and not worry about looking at the time, as Heero had said, looking at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. If you can get out at 9 a.m. after this 9:30, by 9:30, by the time the market opens at 8:30 a.m. Central Time, you've done your job for the day. You've done your risk management. You've got your target profit for the day. You can go do everything else you want to do. And that's what the book is trying to aim to teach people, like how to be able to reach a point where you don't spend all your time looking at markets, but just consistently hitting your target profit, as well as not losing money. So I think this first 3 chapters of this book has been a great read, great coverage of like the basics that we've all kind of known over the previous experiences in a couple of episodes, but also filling in some gaps as well and giving us more things that we should kind of use to measure our success and progress that we'll probably use. So we'll probably read the next couple of chapters in the next 2 weeks and get back to you on that. But that wraps up our book club segment. Going